Hi, welcome to another video, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the if formula in Excel. So if is something that you're struggling with, then don't miss this video. I'm going to be looking at if with and condition, with an or condition, and of course the nested if is something that we will be doing, and also we're going to be looking at the ifs formula, and I'm going to be showcasing this with some real live examples. And I would request you to download the file. The link to download the file is in the description below so that you can practice along. Thanks so much, and I will see you on the other side. Here's the data that we are using, and you can download this file in the description below. We have the sales data, and we have the employee name, the department, etc., and the target status. Now, before we get into the formula, let us understand the syntax of this formula. So if you see here, this is the syntax. Yeah. Let me just increase that size. So what is it? We have the logical test, and what is the value if it is true, and what is the value if it is false. Now let us understand the logical test first. How do we write this logical test? Okay, and after that we are going to understand why do we need a name. So let me copy this sales data. Okay, I'm going to paste this in a new sheet here, and I want to check if this is greater than 50,000. I want to check if this value is greater than 50,000. Each of these value I want to check if it is greater than 50,000. And if I want to do that, all I have to do is I'm going to say equal to this, and this is the logical test. I'm going to check if this is greater than. So this is symbol for greater than. So these are called as operators. We have greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. So these are some of the ones that is there. So I want to check if this is greater than 50,000. If I hit enter, you will see I'm going to get either true or false. I'm going to get true or false. And this is why we would use a if condition, because I don't want true or false. I want to customize the true and false. That is when we would have to use the if formula. If I just want to check the value, and if I'm okay with the true or false, then I can just go ahead and use the logical operator. But when I want to customize the message, that is when I need the if condition. So now let us go back here. Okay, and I want to write this target status. Let me delete this. Okay, and I want to put this target status achieved or pending based on the value that is there. So let's assume maybe in this case we are saying all wherever we have greater than 50,000, I want to put achieved, and if it is less, I want to put pending. Okay, so how do I put equal to if? Okay, I press the tab key. What is the logical test? If you remember in the previous thing that we did, if this is greater than 50,000, okay, then if it is true, what do I want? I want to say achieved, achieved. I'm going to close quotes. Since it is a text, I'm going to put that in double quotes. If it is not achieved, so if I put comma, now if it is not achieved, what do I want? In double quotes, I will say pending. Close bracket, hit enter, and now you have the value. Okay, so wherever it is greater than 50,000, we have achieved. Now, if I want to check the other way around, if it is not achieved, right? If it is not achieved, which is what? Less than 50,000. So how do I write this? So is equal to this. If it is less, forgot my if. Okay, so if what? This is less than 50,000, then in double quotes what? Pending, else achieve. ACHIE achieved. Okay, done. Now if it is less, then you will see. So this is how you can do this, and I can also check this with text, which we will look at a later example. Okay, so now what did we do? So we looked at the greater than and less than. Now I want to check for two conditions. Okay, what is it that I want to check? If the sales is greater than 50,000 and the attendance is greater than 95. So I want both these conditions to be true. Only then I want achieved. So when you want both the conditions to be true, you need to use an AND condition. If either, so for example, if I said either if the sales is greater, I didn't care if they had attendance, but if they have achieved the target of greater than 50,000, then achieved. So in that case, I have to use the OR condition. With OR, if any one of your condition is true, then it is going to be true. So how do we write an AND? Again, for that, I'm also going to copy this attendance. Okay, let me put that in the sales. Okay, so now what? First, I'm going to show you the logical condition. So I said if both these conditions are met, I have to use the AND. So I'm going to write again just the AND first. Moment I write the AND, you will see I get these logical. So I want to check if this is greater than 50,000, comma, what is my next test? I want to check if this is greater than, let's say, 80. Let's do greater than equal to 80. So you will also look at another operator. I'm going to do this and you will see wherever it meets both the conditions, I'm getting an AND. Here you will see, okay, though this is greater than 80, but this is not. So that is why false. So in an AND condition, all the statements that you're checking has to be true. So this is an AND. Let's learn the OR itself here. So is equal to one OR if this is greater than 50,000, or what is the next test? This is greater than equal to 80. Okay. And now you will see wherever earlier you will see more truths compared to the false. Why? Because it is an OR. So either of this condition meets. So in this case, you will see this is 88. Here we have to check if both the condition have to meet. But here, if any one of the condition is met, then it is going to be a true. So that is how an OR works. So here we want to say pending. What? I want both the conditions to be met, only then I want achieved. Okay. So how do I do this? So is equal to if, and now I have to put that other formula and. So earlier we were directly writing the condition, but now first I wanted to check both. So and what first is this greater than 50,000. My next condition should be this is greater than equal to 80. Okay. My test is done, so I'm going to close the bracket. My AND test is done, comma. If it is true, then what? ACH with or what? Pending. Okay. Close bracket, hit enter. So now you will see where both the conditions are met, only then I'm going to get achieved. It should be here. Yes, perfect. And this is pending. So this is how you write the AND condition. Okay. The font size, okay, that's why. So let's reduce the font size to match that. Okay. Now let me write for the OR condition here. So what is OR? So first if, and now okay, if I'm going to press the tab key, next OR the tab key, and then what? If this is greater than 50,000 and this is greater than equal to 80. I'm done with my logical test, so I close my bracket, comma. If it is true, then achieved, comma, pending. Okay. And now drag it down. So wherever you see earlier which was pending, you will see more achieved. In this case, it is still pending. Why? Because this is not greater than 50,000 and this is also 50,000, this also not greater than 80. So in an AND, all the conditions have to be true. In an OR, any one condition being true, you're going to get a true. Okay. So let us now look at a nested if condition. In this video, we're going to be looking at nested if. And why do we need a nested if? The AND and an OR condition, we will use that when we are using or when we are checking data in different columns. But when we want to check the data in the same column, then we have to use the nested if. Here is a simple example. So let's assume if it is less than 20,000, I want to have one value. If it is between 20,000 to 30,000, I want to display another value or another text there. If it is greater than something. So now if you see, there are three different conditions that we have to check. So when we have to check multiple conditions in the same column, then we have to use the nested if function. First, let us write the logic here. So let's assume if it is less than 30,000, I will say bad. If it is between 30,000 to 40,000, good. And if it is greater than 40,000, then I will say best. Okay. Okay, so 3 conditions. So how many conditions are we checking? We are checking for 3 conditions. Another way that for you to remember is the number of if that you will write. So nested if is like the no, Inception movie, a dream inside a dream. So here you'll write if inside an if. That is why it's called as a nested if. That's what's called as a nested if. So here we want to say less than 30,000. So how many conditions? We are checking for 3 conditions. So the number of ifs that you will have is 1 less than this, which is 2. So we're going to write 2 if conditions, and the last one is default. So you don't have to write anything there. So if it does not meet those conditions, then the default conditions what we will have to set. Okay, so now let us write that here. Okay, I'm going to call this as a heading, which is a rating. Let's call it as a rating. Okay, so what do I want to do? So is equal to first if the test. I want to check if it is, okay, if this is less than what, 30,000. If it is less than 30,000, what, comma, in double quotes we will say bang. So if it is less than 30,000, bang. If it is false, then what? Then I want for it to check for the next condition, which is another if. What if this? So I wrote another if, so I have to write another logical test. If this is what I want it to be greater than, right, I want it to be between a certain value, right? So what should it be? I can write an and condition here, or I can also say if it is, let's say, less than what, I'm going to write less than 40,000. Okay, so one is I can write in between using the and condition, but I don't want to put another and here, so I'm just checking if it is less than 40,000. Then what, comma, in double quotes, good. If it does not meet, so if you see here we have written down 3, right? So how many if conditions do we need? 2, 1 less than the condition. So I've already written 2 ifs, so the last one is by default. So what is it? If it does not meet any of these values, then I would say naturally it should be in double quotes best. So default value. Okay, close bracket. I've closed one of this if. I have to also close this if, so I'm going to put another and hit enter, and now drag it down, and you will see we have everything best. Anything less than 30,000 we don't have. We ideally have this, that is less than 30,000, and okay, yes, perfect, we have that as back. So this is how you would write a nested if format. Next, let us look at the IFS function. I'm going to look at the IFS formula in this case. So now you will see the syntax here. So for an IFS, you will just start with one IFS and you will write each condition. So what is the condition that you're checking? If it is true, what is the value? The next you're going to write another condition. If it is true, then what is the value? That is how you're going to write the IFS formula. The difference between the ifs and the ifs, in if you have to write multiple ifs, so sometimes it gets confusing. Okay, so that's one challenge that is there. However, one advantage is there's a default value, but in ifs there is no default value, which means you have to define each value. Okay, so now let us check the same condition here using the ifs, and I'm going to write that here. Okay, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to put the ifs here. So is equal to IFS ifs. The first test, I want to check if this is less than 30,000. Okay, so that is one. If it is less than 30,000, what did we want? We wanted, I think it was bang. Okay, comma. Next, if this is less than 40,000, then what was it? We'll do this average. Okay, or if it is next is less than what is the highest value that I have? Okay, I'm going to put if it is less than 70,000. Okay, then what? Then good. Okay, now let's drag it down and you will see we should, okay, we got all of these values, but we are getting an NA here. Why? Because you will see one of the condition is less than 70,000. So here is that this is how the default held. If you had a default value, maybe this would have covered that, but since it is not there, so here I have to change this to, okay, let me do that in the first one. Okay, so less than 75,000, and now if I drag it down, you will see we get that. So within ifs, you have to ensure that you meet all the criteria. That is very, very important. So sometimes if you had a value, for example, let me just change this to 40,000. Okay, and you will see we will have, okay, we are going to get this as good here, right? Which ideally, if you see, it falls under both of these. So if we had defined this correctly here, so what could I have done? If I say less than equal to, and now moment I do that, you will see this changes to average. Earlier it was good, it changes to average. Why? Because I put equal to. So now let me put equal to everywhere, less than equal to, which means what? It is going to include that also in this. Okay, now if I drag it down, you will see the output changes accordingly. So this is how you can, now you can go ahead and try with multiple conditions here. For example, based on the experience, based on the attendance, you can try doing that, and maybe even based on the departments. Okay, you can try and solve these questions that I've asked in the comments below, and definitely let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer. And if you would like me to make more such videos, please also do let me know in the comments. And don't forget to follow, subscribe for more interesting formulas, tips and tricks in Excel.